Hey everybody, it's Gordicus, and today we're going to be playing Star Trek Frontiers on Tabletop Simulator, and this is just going to be the first part of the uh, playthrough. This is just going to be a quick tutorial on how to play the game. Um, so, and we're just going to be running through a solo conquest mission rather than a multiplayer game. Okay, so first of all, once you have the mod, uh, to find the mod first, search for Trek Night on the workshop. Um, it should come up under Star Trek Frontiers, though, as well. And then install that. Okay, and then when you start a new game, it'll come up like this. And to play a solo game, you want to hit one player, cooperative, common, I'm ready to start. And then delete this board and this board. Select which of the four characters you want to play as. So you can pick Picard, what's this guy's name? Cisco, Martok, and Lursen Bator. Choose whichever one that you want to play as. We'll pick Picard. That's who I usually play as. And for this board here, we are playing solo, so there'll be a dummy player. And to set up the dummy player, from this little icon here, just drag out of it, and you'll get a character. So Lursen Bator. Then we can delete this, and out of this icon here, we'll get her ship card, or their ship card, and you'll see there's two colored symbols at the bottom of the card. So for each of those colors, give them one corresponding data token from here. Okay, and then out of them is again they'll get their skill cards, and they go there. And their deck, which would go in this spot. Just flip it over, give it a good shuffle. And then the rest of the preparation. For a solo conquest game, we need 2 random Borg cube map tiles, 2 random neutral zone map tiles, and then we shuffle those and stack them up. Then we need 7 random sector map tiles, and then shuffle them and stack them on top. Once we've done that, we can hit this to remove the buttons, and I actually like to go around and just delete these, because they just get in the way sometimes. And then, for a solo game, you're going to need 3 dice, so take 3 dice out of there, and roll them. Okay, and as long as 2 out of the 3 dice are red, blue, or yellow, in which case, or in this case, we do have at least 2 of them that are red, blue, or yellow, then you're good. Otherwise, you'll have to re-roll them until you get at least 2 red, blue, or yellow. This icon here is for the starting player order. I don't even use that in a solo game, so I'll delete it. These are the tactic cards. We'll need them. I like to put them in this spot there for organizational purposes. Take the Enterprise and plop it right down there on the wormhole or whatever that is, starting location. And then we take 2 of these tiles and place them there and there. Then we flip them over. This is going to be the starting map. You'll notice how the tiles can only be placed in such a way that they form little symbols, like a star here, or like a circle, if you would have put one here, for example. And the board can, like the tiles can only go like in a direction. They can't go like here or here. They can only go out like in a cone, starting from this spot. Just for future reference. And then you populate the board with any ships that you see. So there's like a Romulan warbird. They get flipped, or they get put face up immediately. Okay. And then everything else, except for Borg spheres, which are quite rare until later on, everything else will get put face down, like Dominion Starbase. And these other icons aren't actually vehicles. I mean, like starships or or other tokens. They're just on the board already. So let's see. Oh yeah, we need to get our initial crew offer, our advanced action cards, and our undiscovered cards. And then we need to draw our initial hand. Let's give our deck a quick shuffle. Okay, now let's see if I can explain the game in a relatively coherent manner. We'll give it a go, I guess. So basically, the game lasts 6 rounds. Okay. And so starting on our first round, we've got an initial hand of 5 cards. The goal of the game is to get as many points as possible. You do that by various things. Points are also called experience, so you will level up by collecting experience. So, for example, on like this enemy token here, this Romulan Warbird, the number at the bottom there, the 3 that has the circle around it, that's how many experience points you would get for killing it. So you would go over here, see how I'm at 0 to start. You would take your XP at the end of the turn, move it to 3. So, and because you went down a row, you would actually level up. And then when you level up, you get one of these of your choice, one of the face-up advanced action cards. And you also get your choice of one of 2 of your skill tokens to pick that give you like a permanent skill that you can use. Like once a round or once a turn, depending on what skill it is. Let me explain the other locations on the map. This icon right here is called a dry dock. And if you end your turn on a dry dock, you heal 1 damage point if you have one in hand or in your discard pile. This here is a outpost. What you can do at an outpost is you can heal, and forget how many points it costs. Okay, so you can either heal one of your wounded crew members if you have any, or repair 1 point of ship damage, so discarding 1 from your hand or your discard pile. I believe you can do it from your discard pile. I'm not sure. For 3 diplomacy, I rarely ever use that ability to be honest, but it is nice to have it. And to subjugate an outpost means that in between your turns, you can choose to draw 2 extra cards if you're at an outpost, but you do actually lose a reputation. Your reputation will affect any diplomacy actions that you take. So the first time won't really make much of a difference. You're still at a modifier of 0, but do it a second time, and then you're starting to build a penalty. So it'll be harder to recruit crew members, complete away missions on planets successfully, because they often depend on your diplomacy abilities, etc. Okay, and then we've got the warbirds. Basically, you can't move from beside a warbird to another adjacent spot beside a warbird, or else that will make them attack you, basically. That'll initiate a combat, and that'll end your turn. So that's something to know. Also, to move on the map requires move points. So on your turn, you can take a maximum of 1 action and move, but you have to do any movement first before you take an action, because you can't move after you take an action. And to use a card, you discard it into your discard pile. So, for example, this card here, Explore, it says move 2 or move 4. The bottom halves of these cards, you'll notice they provide a better ability than the top half. And that's what that symbol between them represents. That color of that symbol is the color of data that is required to utilize the secondary ability. And where you get data is, once per turn, you're allowed to take 1 of these dice from this area, often known as the core, or the data core, and put it into your player area. Something like that. And then if you have, like, well, let's use the yellow, well, let's say there was a blue one. We could take the blue one and use it to move 4 rather than 2. And you can only use 1 of those per turn, unless you have another card that'll let you. For example, this allows you to use an additional data die from the core this turn. So, what else should I explain here? So these spots here are for crew members. You can have up to 5 of them. And you get a new crew member slot every other level. So at level 3, level 5, level 7, level 9, you will unlock the ability to add a new crew member. And combat. So basically, if you're adjacent to a ship and you engage combat with it, I'll explain what the numbers on the card mean. So, or on the token. So the top number 5 in the little Star Trek command symbol there, that is how many hit points the ship has. The number on the left is its attack value, so 3. And the number on the bottom, like I explained earlier, is the experience points value. And any symbols on the right-hand side of these tokens would be special attacks, and I'll get into those later when they come up in play. Oh yes, and also regarding moving, when you let's say we did get movement 4 by using a blue data and playing this card, that doesn't mean we can move 4 spaces. It means we have 4 movement points, and movement points are used in relation to this legend here. So to move into an empty space costs 2. So that would be 2, 4, for example. Moving into like an area with clouds here, like a nebula, that would cost 3. Moving through a planet, which there aren't actually any planets on the board at the moment, costs 3, but you can't end your turn on a planet or else you're pushed back to where you came from and you take a damage. So that's not good. And you only need to be adjacent to a planet in order to interact with it. Okay, and moving through any type of sun costs 4, and again, you can't end your turn on a sun tile, or else the same thing applies. You'd be pushed back to where you came from and you take a damage. You cannot move through asteroids or black holes. It's just not possible, unless you have a rare special card called an undiscovered card, which sometimes allow you to do that, or certain crew members have abilities that make such moves legal sometimes. Okay. Let's see. Also, oh yes, I forgot to mention, on a dry dock, when you start your turn there, you get a white data token. So one of these. I put them on the image of my captain to remind myself that they're only temporary. Now, if I get data crystals, which are the permanent form of the, resource currency, I put them in the bottom half here, so I know they're permanent. These need to be used up. The data, or like the data tokens, need to be used up the turn you get them, or they're lost. Okay. And you can just throw stuff into this little trash bin icon here, which is kind of useful if you don't need it. All right, and then star bases. If you kill them, like a Dominion star base, you'll lose a rep if you attack them, because I mean they are civilians. Star bases that you're attacking. But if you do kill them, then you take over the star base and you get to take one of these 3, or one of the face-up undiscovered cards and put it on top of your deck, which is pretty awesome. And then you move on to the star base. Okay, you'll see that as we play. Romulan star bases aren't any on the map yet, but you would that they increase your ability, or they increase your hand size as long as you're adjacent to them by 1 for each one of them that you control. Borg spheres are just like super Romulan warbirds, basically. The planets themselves are places you can do missions or fight enemies for specific rewards, etc. We'll get into that as they come along. And let's get into the other types of cards that we have. There are cards that have special abilities like Insight, but most of the cards will have either attack, shields, movement, or diplomacy on them. And diplomacy is just a value, and if you get enough, like let's say you're at one of these outposts, you can recruit a crew member, and the amount that you need to spend is equal to their their diplomacy cost in the top left corner, the live long and prosper symbol. So for this Federation officer, we'd have to pay 4. For this one, 4. For NVEC, we need to pay 5. And they have special abilities as listed there. You can use a crew member. You can use or activate, they call it, a crew member once per round, unless somehow you can reactivate them with special cards. But typically once per round. So, like NVAC could either be used to give you +2 to an attack or +4 diplomacy to an away mission. This guy could give you 2 attack, 2 shields, 2 diplomacy, or 2 move, and he's the same, just a different face. So that's what diplomacy's for. Attack is basically, so in a combat, let's say you're adjacent and you want to initiate a combat. First things first is what's called a long-range attack. If you had long-range attack cards that you played that add up to equal or more than their defense value on the top of the token there, you instantly kill the ship before it even gets a chance to attack you back. So I just get rid of it. I like to just throw them over here. And then you get the XP at the bottom, 3, and yeah. You also get a reputation bonus of 1 for each Romulan warbird that you destroy, and 2 for each Borg sphere that you destroy, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, and then, but if you don't have a long-range attack, then they attack you first, so their attack value is 3. How damage is done in this game is that 3 is compared with your current captain's, or your captain's current defense value, which is that number right there on the command icon. 2 would be his defense value. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. You always round up the damage, so you would take 2 damage from that. Okay, and in this case, since he has that DNA symbol on the right, that's considered like a biological weapon, you actually take the same amount of damage into your discard pile as you do into your hand, so that's pretty horrible. So we would take 2 damage in our hand, which we would just take the cards here from the damage stack, 2 cards in our hand, and then 2 would actually go into our discard pile here as well, but we wouldn't do something so stupid as to not shield that attack. So, shielding attacks. You would use like this, shields 2. Let's say you just use shields 2. So, that 3 minus, you subtract your shields that you have from the attack, so 3 minus 2 would be 1. 1 minus 2, it still hits. It's still at least 1 damage because it's not 0. But it's not greater than your defense value, so you don't take an extra damage, right? So you would just take the 1 damage into your hand. But if you shielded but for 3 or more, then you wouldn't take any from this guy. And after long range attack, after shields, finally is the attack phase. And if you can do 5 points of damage to it, in this case, it would die. Okay, and then you would get the XP and the reputation bonus as normal. Okay, and that's combat. So we've done move, attack, shields, diplomacy. Yeah, I think we're actually ready to begin. Also, I didn't mention how the turns basically work in the game. Basically, the dummy player doesn't actually do anything. They just serve as sort of a timer mechanism. And at the beginning of the game, and at the beginning of each subsequent round, you will look at the tactic cards that you have available, and choose one. They each have a special ability. This one, and whoever between you or the dummy player, whoever has the lowest number, goes first in a turn. 1 does nothing, but allows you to automatically go first. Evaluation allows you to swap 3 cards from your hand for new cards and shuffle the old ones back into your deck. Secret Plot allows you to have an extra data die that you can use once for the round, which is useful. Planning, I use this one most often, allows you to draw an extra card at the end of each turn if you have at least 2 non-damage cards remaining in your hand, that's pretty sweet. Fortune is also pretty nice. You immediately draw 2 cards, so we would actually start the game with 7 cards in our hand if we did that. Timing allows you to take an extra turn, basically. before your opponent goes again. Sometimes that's useful. Not so much in a solo game, I don't find, but we'll see. I might end up taking it in one of these 6 rounds. And let's see. So in this case, looking at our hand, we kind of want to take into consideration what our plan is. We want to probably get rid of this. We want to conquer this starbase and kill this guy if possible, but we don't have any long-range attacks, and we don't want to take much damage, to be honest. So I still think going over this way is best, and probably going to get that NVEC guy from the what's that symbol? The outpost would probably be our best choice here. Or we could go around this way. This thing's got 4x or 4 damage or 4 defense, which we can't kill with long-range attacks either. But hopefully we'll draw some by the time by our next turn. So I think we'll just take number 4. And then once you take a card, you always pick first, by the way. And then in a solo game, and then the dummy player, I just shuffle and then flip a random one. So, luckily enough, we actually go first here, since our 4 is lower than their 5. Okay, so let us begin. So first and foremost, I think we use. I didn't mention what purple data does. So purple data allows you to use the rare card that has purple data as a requirement. That's very rare. Or you can take the purple data die, roll it, and see what you get, and either use it or lose it, basically. And I think that's actually what we're going to do this turn. We're going to roll that die, and we get purple again. So nothing happens. That goes back to the board. That's unfortunate. We'll use move 2. We'll move the Enterprise here. Oh, and another thing I didn't mention. You can take any card in your hand at any time and play it, or discard any card in your hand except damage cards for +1 to anything. So like +1 move, attack, shields, or diplomacy. By discarding any card, you would put it sideways if you're playing the game physically, but just discarding a card gives you +1. So I could discard 2 cards here to move 2 spaces, and honestly, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Yeah, we'll get rid of that and that. We'll move here, keep the 2 cards in our hand, so we get an extra card at the end of the turn, which is now, because we're done. We don't want to do anything with these 2 diplomacy cards. We couldn't really do anything with them here. So we'll draw up to 5, click that button, and draw another card for the bonus. See, now we have a long-range attack card, which is nice. We have some repair if we need. So after our turn is the dummy player's turn. So for their turn, what they do is they take the top 3 cards of their deck and flip it over into their discard pile. The third card that they flip this in the turn, if that matches the color of data token that they have, you flip another card for each color of data token that they have that match. So if they had like 2 red data tokens right now, we'd flip another 2 cards. And then when the dummy player's turn begins and they have no cards in their deck, they announce that it's the end of the round. You get 1 more action, and then the round ends. Okay. So if you run out of cards during your turn, then like if your deck gets empty, then you can't really do anything else other than use the cards you've got in your hand, because you don't refill until the next round. So you really want to make the most out of the cards that you have in your hand, not like discard them for +1 unless you really have to. Really making use of your cards to the best of their ability is one of the really important things, I think, to learn in this game if you want to maximize your points. So yeah. So they flipped 3, didn't get a blue or a yellow, so that's cool. And then it's back to us. Oh yes, I forgot. It's not that big a deal, but we are able to actually see star bases if we are adjacent to them. So we would have been able to see this guy last turn. So he's got 5 defense, and that little symbol beside the 5 means that he is resistant to that type of attack, which I believe is a photon torpedo. We don't have those kind of attacks right now, so it's kind of irrelevant to us, but that just means he takes half the damage from that kind of attack. I believe that is rounded down. And the symbol on his attack over to the left, the 6, is also photon torpedo. And those kind of attacks basically negate half of your shields against them, unless they're the shields of that particular type, which we don't have any non-standard shields at the moment in our deck. So that would actually require 9 shields to block all that damage. Although it doesn't deal extra damage if you don't block it at all. We'd still take only 6 divided by 2, 3 damage for it, if we were to attack it outright and not shield any of it, which we may actually do. It is our turn, and we are trying to decide what we want to do here. So this guy's got 5, this guy's got 5. It's obviously better to attack this because we get an undiscovered card. We get 5 XP as opposed to 3. He doesn't have that biogenic weapon attack. So how can we get 5 damage here? That is the question. We're going to have to discard stuff. And because we have this repair hull, I'm not too concerned about just soaking up 3 damage right off the bat here. We'll go long range attack. Well, use this card for long range attack of 3 with this red data token that we're allowed to use one of these tokens in our turn. So we'll use that. So that's a 3 attack. We can't kill it just with long range attacks, so he's still going to get a chance to hit us for the full 6. So this is 3 attack. What if we discard synthesize data sideways and intimidate sideways, basically. We're discarding these just for +1 to attack. So that's long range attack 3, and then 4 attack, 5 attack. It doesn't actually give long range attack, just regular attack. But still, that's a total of 5 attack. So he will hit us for 6 in the attack phase now. 6 divided by 2 is 3 damage, so we'll take 1, 2, 3 damage. Ouch. But we do 3, 4, 5 damage to it. So that will kill this. We get 5 XP, leveling us up. We lose reputation for attacking a civilian, a starbase. And we get our choice of undiscovered card. We get either Advanced Engineering, Repair 1 and Draw 2. Call to Arms, use the ability of any crew member for free, or recruit any crew member for free. That's pretty crazy. And Open Negotiations, Diplomacy 3 or 5 during an away mission. And Prime Directive is pretty awesome as well. Honestly, I like it. This Advanced Engineering, I think we'll take that. That goes on top of our deck. And then this gets refilled. We take one of our control icons, place it on the Dominion Starbase we just captured, and put our ship on it. That doesn't actually make this attack us because we moved as part of an automatic action there. So that is our turn. We level up though. You'll see we leveled up. So we get our choice of one of these face-up advanced action cards. It goes on top of our deck. So either Honor, attack 2 or 5 if we take a damage, or possibly attack 4 or attack 9 if we take a damage. It's pretty crazy. This one is Heal. Heal isn't the same as Repair. Heal is just for crew members. Picard Maneuver. I think we're going to take Honor. Seems like it's the best of the bunch. Put it on top. Refill that. And then We already used a data, so we can't use like the yellow to repair 2. So I'm going to wait till next turn to do that to make the most out of it. So we will... Oh yes, forgot. We get to look at the top 2 of these and pick one. We either get research, which allows us once per round to get a blue data token in our inventory permanently, and a red data or a blue data crystal permanently and a red data token temporarily to use that turn if we wish. Or we can take efficiency, which just reduces the move cost of all spaces you enter by 2. And it lasts the entire round. So I think we'll take that. Basically, just allows us to move much easier for the rest of the game, basically. And then you also take the top one of the dummy players and flip it up, placing it here. You can choose from this area the common pool of skills instead of the one you flip from your own skill pile in subsequent level ups if you wish. But if you do so, you have to take the leftmost advanced skill card. You don't get your choice. You have to take the leftmost in that case. Now, since at the end of the turn we have more than 2 non-damage cards in our hand, so this would trigger, but our hand limit would only be 6 anyway, and we have 6 cards because damage cards count as cards, so we don't get to draw any more cards right now. This gets re-rolled. You slide it or drop it in there and re-rolls for you. It's pretty awesome. Okay, and then our turn is over, so we go to Lursa and Bator. They flip a yellow, a blue, and a red. Lucky again, they didn't hit. Okay, back to us. Since we are at a Dominion Starbase, we can recruit people that have that icon. None of these guys do. We can also buy any of these undiscovered cards for 7 diplomacy and a black data token. If we really want. And this long-range pulse torpedo attack one is very nice. But we can't quite afford it, I don't think. Because we could use Picard for +4, which would give us 4. Discard this for 5. And I don't really want to get rid of this. So we may yet come back there to get the unknown weapon card. But for now, I think we're starting our turn off by using the upgraded version of Repair Hull to repair 2. So we're going to just throw 2 away of the damage. Okay, and you don't re-roll until the end of your turn, so you don't get any knowledge you shouldn't have about what's going to be available later. That's what I do. Now, what do we want to do now? We can move on to the this thing here, the worm or the what do you call it? If we move here, we'll be attacked by this guy. If we move here, we're fine. If we move here, we're kind of going out of the way, but we don't have any attacks, so we can't. It really wouldn't be wise to move to this location. So, we could just stay in place in case we get another diplomacy card. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to stay in place. Yeah, we're just going to stay in place. So we're going to draw back up to 5. +1. Okay, and then re-roll this. And that will be our turn. So then, there's some Bator. Flip, flip, flip. Wait a minute. Okay, yep, we've been doing it right. Yep, so lucky again, red. Okay, so back to us. Now can we pay 7 diplomacy? Oh, we don't have a red data crystal to use. I didn't think about that. I mean, we could use the purple. Well, no, we couldn't because we can't have the. Okay, actually, advanced engineering. Let's do that. Use the yellow. And then to repair 1 and draw 2. So we'll discard that. Draw 2. And then... Now, obviously, we can't spend this black data now because we've used a token this round. So, let's see. Would we be able to purchase the long-range attack next turn? We would be able to... We don't know if there will be a red. That's kind of up in the air at this time. But we could at least have 2, 3, 4, 5... by discarding another card, and then like 6, 7. I really don't know how much I want to waste that many cards on it, but we'll do it, I guess. And who knows, we might get either a white or red data. Oh, but we couldn't. We couldn't use it because we have to spend the black, I forgot. But that's fine. So let's see. So yeah, that's going to be our turn, I guess. Is that all we want to do? I guess. Kind of a wasted turn, to be honest. So he... 1, 2, 3. Okay, blue. So since there's a blue data, you flip another one. Back to us. Still have 6 cards in our hand. We didn't get lucky with... Well, it doesn't matter with the red, I was going to say, but... So what we're going to do is Diplomacy of 2. We'll also get an extra experience point at the end of our turn. We can play this for Diplomacy 3 by discarding another card, so we'll discard that card with it. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because we played these two, say, sideways, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this black data token... And we take the unknown weapon on top of our deck. And that's going to be our turn. So, draw back up to 5, not 6, because we only had 1 non-damage card in hand. And then we re-roll this. And it's black again. So we could actually use this next turn, since there's yellow. Or a gold. Since there's a black here, and we can get a gold token with this card. But anyway, let's go to Lursumbatour. They'll flip 3. And it's not yet the end of the round. Even though they flipped a yellow and they don't have any cards left, it's only at the beginning of their turn. If they have no cards, they'll announce end of round. So we get 2 more turns, basically, before the end of the round. So now we can actually do stuff other... Oh, this gets refilled. I forgot. We can actually move. We need, what, 3 XP to level up. We would level up if we killed this guy immediately. So let's do it. What we can do is take the black token, use this to gain a gold data token, and then play unknown super weapon with the black data die and the yellow data token to deal 6 long-range attack. And that's enough to kill this outright. So, kabloom, or kablam. And we'll get a reputation for doing so. And I forgot to give us the bonus XP for using Picard last turn. The Picard card. And we get, what was it, 3 XP for killing that? 1 and 2 and 3. So we leveled up, but there's this icon, so we don't get a new advanced action card and a new ability this turn, this round, or this time leveling up. We actually take the top of our command token and flip it up, placing it in one of these locations, indicating that we can now have a maximum of 2 crew members rather than 1. So that will be our turn. We could have moved first, but not that big a deal. And we'll draw our last card, I guess. And now they don't have any cards, so they announce end of round, back to us. This gets re-rolled. Let's take a look at what we can do here. Do we really want any of these guys? They're not that good, to be quite honest, those guys. So let's, since we have this is very cool. Movement costs 2 less for each square that we move to. So what it's... okay. So we can use this as a move of 1. Okay, now, since we're on the edge of unknown space, we can spend 2 movement points to explore a new tile. Which I think we'll do. So we'll use this to move 2 to explore a new tile. And whenever exploring a new tile, you gain an XP, which is pretty cool. Flip it over, populate the tokens. There's a planet. Planets don't populate right away, only when adjacent to them. There's another dry dock and another Romulan warbird. They get flipped face up, though. Now, unfortunately, we can't kill that. I don't think. Oh, yeah, we could, actually. We could deal 6 damage to it, which is just enough to kill it. Is it worth it, though? That is the question. Or actually, we still have this, right? We do. We didn't use honor like we thought we were gonna. Did we? Or were we? Oh, we did use it to... yeah, shit. Okay. But I mean, we could use the yellow data token for 4 attack, and then just use this as 2 attack for 6 attack divided by 2, since he's got a defense, or he has got a resistance to regular phasers. That's what that symbol beside the 3 means. So we need to deal 6 damage, which we can, but we would be taking 5 attack from him. Divided by 3 is 2 if you round up. So he'd be taking 2 damage. Is that something we want to do? That is the question. And I'm not so sure that we do, to be honest. But why not? Let's do it. We get 4 XP in a rep. So we'll have used the yellow for attack 4, attack 6, and take 2 damage into our hand. It's just going to go here because the round is now over. And then this gets re-rolled. Doesn't matter because we're actually going to have to re-roll all 3 of them at the beginning of a new round. Alright, so at the end of a round, what you will do... well, actually, let us give us that 4 XP first before I forget. 3, 4. And a rep. Okay, and then at the end of the round, what you would do, or what you do, is take the lowest advanced action card, add it to the dummy player's deck, and give them another data crystal of that color, so another blue. Flip their deck over, place it back in its regular spot, and give it a good shove. Okay, and then you want to fill or refill these, like add a new card to them. Or actually, yeah, I think you just do that. And then you would clear the unit offer and get a new unit offer. So now we have Riker, Klingon Lieutenant, and Wayun to consider. Alright. And that is the end of the round. Hopefully you learned how to play, if I was coherent at all in my ramblings. And stay tuned for the next episode, where we will begin round 2. Thanks for watching. Bye.